Who is that?
Yeah, who are you?
Get your gear together. We all got 10 minutes.
On the next episode of Dutton Ranch.
Jacksons are gonna chew you up, spit you out, forget you ever had a name.
You give me a week, I'll know everything there is to know about Bula Jackson.
Rip and Beth have secrets, and people with secrets can be useful.
How about you and I speak truthfully?
Dutton Ranch Episode 5 is about to change everything. And I mean everything. Because what we saw in Episode 4 was not just a battle over cattle or land. It was the opening move in a war that has been quietly building since the very first episode. Rip walking into 10 Petal Ranch territory, Beth digging deeper into Bula's secrets, Carter getting arrested, and Bula getting closer to discovering the truth about John Dutton's death. Every single thread is pulling tighter and tighter, and something is about to snap. The question is, who breaks first? Beth and Rip have already lost an entire herd. They have a body on their land, they have false veterinary reports, and a betrayal they still cannot fully prove. And on the other side, Bula is sitting on secrets of her own, investigating John Dutton, and slowly starting to understand exactly who she is dealing with. This is no longer just a ranching competition, this is survival. And in Episode 5, both sides are going to stop holding back. Let's start with Rip because his storyline in Episode 5 is going to be one of the most intense things we have seen in this entire show. In Episode 4, we watched Rip fall apart mentally. Losing an entire herd is not just a financial disaster. For someone like Rip, who has devoted his entire life to this land and this work, it is deeply personal. It is an attack on everything he has built. And when Rip takes things personally, he does not sit down and write a strongly worded letter. He acts. And from what we see in the promo, he acts in a very big way by walking straight into 10 Petal Ranch and telling their workers to get ready. Now think about how bold that is. Rip is going onto enemy land where he has no authority, no legal standing, and no backup. And he is giving orders. That tells us everything about where Rip's head is at going into Episode 5. He is not thinking about consequences. He is thinking about sending a message. But here is the thing that makes this even more interesting. Rip would not just walk in there without a reason. He needs something to justify that move. And I think Beth is going to hand him that reason. In the promo, we see Beth doing exactly what Beth does best, which is digging until she finds something no one wanted her to find. And what she is going to find is the connection between the bull that infected their herd and Bula. The fake veterinary reports, but false blood tests, the perfectly covered trail, it all leads back to Bula. And once Beth confirms that, Rip will have the justification he has been waiting for, because now it is not just suspicion, it is proof. And Rip, with proof in his hand, is a completely different and much more dangerous version of Rip than the one who was just grieving his cattle. And there is another piece to this that makes Rip's move to 10 Petal Ranch even more layered. The body found on Dutton Ranch land. We know it belongs to a 10 Petal Ranch worker named Wes, and Rip is going to figure that out. Whether it is through Beth's research or through his own digging, Rip will connect Wes to 10 Petal Ranch. And this is actually a very smart move on his part, because instead of just showing up at 10 Petal Ranch as an enemy, he can show up as someone who knows the truth about one of their own people being killed. And that changes the dynamic completely. The workers at 10 Petal Ranch are loyal to their ranch because they think they are working for people who protect them. But if Rip can show them that someone in their own operation had Wes killed, or at least covered up his death, that loyalty starts to crack. Rip is not just going there to threaten anyone. He is going there to divide them from the inside. Now let's talk about the confrontation between Rip and Walken, because this is the moment I personally cannot stop thinking about. Walken is smart, he is calculated, and he has been managing 10 Petal Ranch's ground-level operations with a kind of cold discipline that we have not seen before on this show. He is not going to stand by and watch Rip walk onto his territory and talk to his workers without doing something about it. Walken will confront Rip, that is almost certain, but here is where it gets really interesting. Rip in Episode 4 was mentally broken. Grief, rage, and helplessness had been building inside him the entire episode. And in Episode 5, that pressure has not gone anywhere. It has just been compressed further. So when Joaquin steps in front of Rip to assert control, he is not going to be dealing with a calm and collected Rip Wheeler. He is going to be dealing with a man who is holding back an explosion. And I genuinely believe that Joaquin is going to get the full force of that explosion in episode 5. We might very well see Rip beat Joaquin badly and threaten him in a way that shakes even someone as composed as Joaquin. And that moment is going to be critical because it will force Joaquin to make a choice. Does he tell Bula what happened and risk looking weak? Or does he handle it himself and risk going against Rip without Bula's support? And speaking of Joaquin, his situation with Bula is already becoming one of the most emotionally complex storylines in the show. I said it before and I will say it again. What Joaquin is going through right now is almost exactly what Jamie went through in Yellowstone. He is loyal, he is capable, he has given everything to this operation. But at the end of the day, he is not Bula's biological son, and that ceiling is always going to be there above him. And the fact that Bula would rather wait for Rob Will to come out of rehab and potentially hand the ranch over to someone that unstable rather than give Joaquin the position he has earned, that is the kind of thing that slowly turns a loyal person into a dangerous one. In episode 5, I think we are going to see Joaquin's patience start to run out. And the combination of Rip's aggression from outside and Bula's dismissal from inside might just be the thing that finally pushes Joaquin toward making his own moves. Now let's shift to Beth, because if Rip is the sword in episode 5, Beth is the one sharpening it. And Beth's investigation into Bula is going to go much deeper than just the bull and the fake reports. Beth does not do anything halfway. Once she starts pulling on a thread, she pulls until the whole thing unravels. And what she is going to find about Bula is not just evidence of sabotage. She is going to find out who Bula really is, how she operates, and what kind of crime she has been willing to commit to protect 10 Petal Ranch. And at the same time, Bula is doing the exact same thing on her end. We already saw in episode 4 that Bula is investigating John Dutton's death. And this is where things get truly terrifying, because if Bula digs deep enough, she is not just going to find out that John Dutton died. She is going to find the train station. She is going to find out what happened to the people John Dutton had killed, and she is going to realize that Beth and Rip are not just competitive ranchers. They are people who have done things that most criminals would not even dare to think about. And that moment, the moment Bula fully understands who Beth and Rip are, is going to completely shift the power dynamic between the two sides. Right now, Bula sees them as a threat to her business, rivals who got too ambitious and need to be slowed down. But once she knows about the train station, she is not going to see them as business rivals anymore. She is going to see them as people who are capable of making her disappear entirely if she pushes too hard. And that fear is going to make Bula both more cautious and more dangerous at the same time. Because people who are afraid do not always pull back. Sometimes they attack harder because they know that backing down means giving the other side a chance to finish them off first. And this is exactly what I meant when I said there will be no winner in this ego battle. Both sides are sitting on enough secrets to destroy the other completely. Beth and Rip know that Bula sabotaged their herd. Bula is about to know that Beth and Rip have blood on their hands from long before they ever came to Texas. If either side decides to go fully public with what they know, they bring the other side down. But in doing so, they also expose themselves. It is mutually assured destruction. And that is what is going to make episode 5 so incredibly tense. Because every move either side makes from here on out has to be calculated perfectly. One wrong step and the whole thing collapses on everyone. Now let's talk about the moment I think a lot of people are waiting for, which is Beth and Bula finally coming face to face with the secrets they have found about each other. I cannot imagine a more electric scene than these two women, both of them brilliant, both of them ruthless, both of them fully aware of what the other is capable of, sitting across from each other and talking in that careful, dangerous way where every word means 3 different things. Beth is not someone who hides her intelligence, and Bula is not someone who panics under pressure. So when they finally have this conversation, and I believe episode 5 is building toward exactly that, it is going to be one of those scenes where you hold your breath the entire time because you genuinely do not know who is going to blink first. And then there is Carter. Poor Carter, who just cannot stop making things harder for himself. Skipping school to secretly work at Dwight's ranch was bold, yes, but bold in the way that only a teenager can be bold, which is without any real understanding of the consequences. And now in the promo, we see him getting arrested and questioned. And the most likely reason goes back to the leopard at Dwight's ranch. Think about it this way. A leopard on a private ranch is already illegal. And if that leopard escaped or was used to harm someone, the investigation that follows is going to pull in everyone who had any connection to that ranch. Carter was there. Carter was working there secretly. And depending on what happens to Dwight, Carter could very easily find himself in a situation where he is either being accused of releasing the leopard or being used as a scapegoat by Dwight to protect himself from the illegal animal charges. Either way, Carter is in serious trouble. And this time, Beth and Rip might not be in a position to bail him out immediately because they are already dealing with a war on every other front. But there is also the other possibility that Carter's arrest is connected to Oriana and the man Bula assigned to watch over her. We know Carter and Oriana have never been good at following the rules that adults set for them. And if Carter tried to get to Oriana and ended up in a physical confrontation with Bula's man, that is a completely different kind of trouble. Because that is not just a legal problem, that is a direct provocation against Bula's people, and Bula will see it exactly that way. So no matter which direction Carter's arrest comes from, the consequences are going to be significant. And this storyline is going to force Beth and Rip to split their attention at the worst possible time. And finally, let's come back to Everett and Bula because this might actually be the emotional center of episode 5, even though it sits underneath all the action. When Bula tricked Everett into coming to her ranch and offered him retirement and a life together, she was not just being sentimental. She was trying to take away one of Beth and Rip's key pieces. In the conversation about Levi, the emotion we saw from both of them, the shared pain of whatever they lost together, all of that tells us that Everett still feels something for Bula. But here's where it is going to fall apart, because once Everett learns what Bula did to the herd, once he understands that she used false reports to wipe out everything Beth and Rip had built, that emotion is going to turn into something very different. Everett is not going to see a woman he once loved reaching out to reconnect. He is going to see someone who is willing to hurt the people around him to get what she wants. And that realization is going to push Everett firmly to Beth and Rip's side in a way that Bula will not be able to undo. And that is going to cost Bula more than she realizes because Everett understands her better than anyone. He knows how she thinks, he knows her weaknesses, and now he is going to be using all of that against her. Episode 5 is going to be absolutely explosive, and we are only just getting started.